I would say the Diablo 4 Druid is the worst class in a Diablo game that I've ever seen.
I love your smile.
Oh no, don't wolf.
Shred is fucking insane this season. After like 3 years of being ass, it's instead finally plowing ass. Its speed runs pit 130s. It deals trillions of damage. T12 is obviously a joke as well, obliterating all the bosses with ease. And you want to know the best part? It's fun as shit. By far my favorite druid build of all time is finally back. And for once, it's one of the best and most satisfying druid builds in the game. And in this one, we'll cover everything you need to get this bad boy of a build online. All right? And who's the creator of it? Well, Zaya, obviously. He's the druid man, and he's got the class locked down. So make sure to check out his channel after the video if you want more druid builds. But now, let's get into the details of the build. And first things first, what are the main interactions driving the build? Well, there are some major and very important interactions you need to know before putting the build together. The first one being, how in the flying shit are we hitting for trillions of damage? In this particular version, we'll be using the Old Mountain Charm set. As long as we're hitting enemies with earth skills, we will petrify them. This is easy, as we'll have Cataclysm do it automatically. More on that later. But once they're petrified, we will not only double our damage, but we're also stacking up all of the lovely damage for a massive 200% AoE nuke. And that, my friends, is the large chunk of damage you're seeing every now and then. The only downside of using this interaction is that we also want the Storm Shepherd damage bonus and damage reduction. But we're going to solve this with a mythic seal, allowing us to use both set bonuses. We're fully aware you may not have access to this though, so in that case just go for the Storm Shepherd version here, as it's largely the same build with just some minor tweaks. Alright, and then on to the second, if not the most important interaction to make the build work. Because Storm Shepherd requires a ton of resources to fully max out its damage bonus, we will require a lot of resource generation. This is easily solved via the Spirit Howl passive though, because if we pair this spirit regeneration with Thibault's Will, and then the Malefic Crescent Amulet, we will automatically generate resources. And speaking of automatically doing shit, that's what we'll be doing with the skills as well. Our main chunk of damage will indeed come from Shred, making it largely a one-button build. But we also have Hurricane, we have Cyclone Armor, Wolves, Lightning Storm, and Cataclysm. Mr. Big Penis Man, that's too many buttons for me, a brain-dead single-digit IQ dad gamer. Don't worry, you just press the others when they're up or about to fall off. Hurricane in particular, that just stays up by itself after we press it. Cyclone Armor if you want to gather enemies. Lightning Storm is automated, so it's mainly just Cataclysm and Wolves you'll have to press every now and then to maximize your damage. Alright, and when it comes to the boons, we have some good stuff going on here. The deer boosts our damage, the same goes for the bird. The wolf extends the duration of Cataclysm, and the sneaky snake grants us ferocity stacks for attack speed and calm before the storm allows us to reset our Cataclysm, cool down back again, ensuring that it's always up and petrifying enemies for our charms. Next, we have the gear. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, FanView. One thing that's become really obvious recently is how much AI is changing online content creation. A lot of people who normally would never start a brand or content business are now using AI tools to create content and build online income streams. And FanView is one of the platforms pushing heavily into that space right now. They have something called the FanView Creator Academy, where they basically teach beginners how to create AI-powered content, build audiences, and monetize online, even if you're starting from zero with no experience. The process itself is pretty straightforward. You create content, upload it to the platform, and monetize through subscriptions and fan support. And it's not locked to one niche either. People are using this stuff across gaming, fitness, lifestyle, entertainment, AI content, pretty much everything. So whether you're curious about AI tools, online business, content creation, or just experimenting with new ways to make money online, it's worth checking out. If you want to learn more, check out the FanView Creator Academy using the link in the description and pinned comment. All right, back to the gear. Heir of Perdition is one hell of a helmet this season. Look for one with core skill GA and crit chance and temper maximum resolve stacks. Because with resolve stacks, we can pair them with Glin's Anvil, allowing us to gain loads of damage reduction. We also want the Moni and Quay Rune combo here, allowing us to gain Earthen Bulwark without having to cast it, and also more frequently. And we definitely want this, seeing as it'll grant us barrier for defense, fortify, resolve stacks, and overpower stacks. Just fuckloads of utility in one rune. Next, we have the chest. As mentioned, grab the Glin's Anvil aspect and as many resolve stacks as you can. Other than that, it's all about just filling out with the usual stats: willpower, max life, resistances, and armor, as to not die. Next, we have our gloves. We slap on the Archdruid's aspect for the lovely crit damage bonus. We'll aim for 100% crit chance so that we may maximize our crit damage multipliers. We'll then pair this with the Pock and Gar rune combo for even more crit chance, ensuring it's at 100%. We then want the Tibolt's Will Pantaloonies so that we're always stacked on resources for our charms to be maxed out. We then want a slick pair of sneakers. Movement speed is great to move around fast, obviously, even though you'll largely just zippity zoom around with Shred. We also use the dominance aspect, ensuring we're always at full resolve stacks for the Glin's Anvil aspect. As weapon, we just look for as many multipliers as possible, and we grab the Inner Calm aspect, because this does indeed work when you're spamming Shred, meaning as long as you're not actually running, this will be up when you're spamming Shred. So rather than running, you ideally want to be using Shred for all of your mobility when fighting packs of enemies, which is easy when doing high-tier content. For your offhand, go with the Crushing aspect, where we'll be maxed out on Fortify via our Earthen Bulwark, and then just slap on as many damage multipliers as possible. Lastly, we have some interesting jewelry. First is the Malefic Crescent Amulet. As mentioned earlier, we use this to automatically cast Blood Howl when we shapeshift via Shred, and then we use the Spirit Howl passive to generate spirit for us. But it also boosts our damage. As stats, look for as many of these as possible, the more the merrier. Then, for our lovely rings, go for Starless Skies for its truckloads of damage and stat bonuses, where we again need to max out our crit chance primarily. And lastly, the Dirge of Erida ring, increasing storm skill damage. And in case you haven't noticed yet, we will indeed be turning our Shred skill into a Storm skill, along with Lightning Storm and Cataclysm already being Storm skills, of course. Hey, great job, friends. Gear complete. And just in time, seeing as it's just about skill tree a fucking clock, and you know it, man or woman. Drop a wet fart on the basic skills and make sure to max out Lightning Storm. We then go for movement speed, along with additional strikes, granting us more Lightning Storms per ferocity stacks, which, if you remember, we get via our boons. And lastly, Hero of the Storm, which is how we keep it up permanently without having to care about it. We then have our main damage ability Shred, where we grab Healing for well, healing along with Storm Shred as to transform it into a Storm skill, and then cast Speed for additional attack speed. In the defensive tree, we grab Earthen Bulwark, which we trigger via our runes for extra barrier, along with Fortify and Healing for... Yeah, Fortify and Healing. We also have Travertine, which grants us Resolve stacks, and Overpower for Overpower stacks. After that, we want Cyclone Armor for its damage reduction via our charms, along with additional resistances and a way of pulling enemies together. We then have Bloodhowl, which we trigger automatically via our Amulet, where we also gain extra healing here, followed by our main source of Spirit Generation and our main source of Unstoppable. When it comes to the Wolves, we want it for the attack speed passive. Next is Hurricane, which we grab for an easy source of Weakened, granting us damage reduction, and Dorico to remove its cooldown. Lastly, we head on over to the Ultimates, where we grab Cataclysm for damage, Ferocity stacks, but most importantly, we get Tectonic, as to have it deal earth damage for our charms, granting us buttloads of damage, and finally, Duration for some extra duration. With that done, let's head on over to the Paragons to see what the hell's going on over there. Starting with the starting board, we go for Fang and Claw for its damage bonus, but it's also going to boost the nearby Dex and Int nodes, which in turn allows us to reach the requirements of some of the nodes later. We then head on over to Lust for Carnage for some damage, and Socketing in Dominate for extra damage. As third board, we want to go for Thunderstruck for its damage and crit chance. We then go to Socket in Earth and Sky for its lovely nature magic damage bonus. As fourth board, we have Constricting Tendrils, increasing our damage against poisoned enemies, which also happens automatically via the node itself. We follow that by Socketing in Spirit, which generates loads of additive damage, making it a great spot to dump all of your spare nodes. And lastly, we fuck off all the way over here to pick up Ancestral Guidance for more damage and slot in the Keeper Glyph for, well, even more damage. Yummers. With that done, there's but the Mercenary and some gameplay left. As per usual, Subo's the man, granting us Wall Hack, some extra movement speed, and critical strike damage. We then pick the Weird Child, as he grants us damage reduction every now and then. Alright folks, it's time to check out some gameplay so you know exactly how to play this magnificent build. As mentioned before, the build is easy peasy to play. You start off every run with popping your Hurricane. This will then stay up for the run, weakening enemies for damage reduction. Then, you pop Lightning Storm, which will follow you around as well. Lastly, use Cataclysm at the start and every time it's off. Then, you just Blast Man. Zip, zippity, zip, zip, zippity around the map with your Shred skill and wipe out the entire screen. Try to move around as little as possible, as you ideally want to be moving with your Shred skill to keep up inner calm at all times. And if you ever need to group enemies together, you have Cyclone Armor. Alrighty, that's all for this one. Thanks to Zyor for this lovely build. And again, thanks to FanView for sponsoring this video. Check out my link in the description to check out the FanView Creator Academy now.